Hi, I'm making this video for people who are not overly interested in politics but kind of would like to hear the facts on Clinton's email. There's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of it from Republicans who will go after anything any liberal does, and some of it's, from the Clinton campaign. It sounds like it's an excuse and whatnot. So here are some facts, and I jotted down a few notes so we can go over them. And instead of just going over everything chronologically, I grouped them together so that you can see the relation between what they said and what they said a few months later, and then what the latest we know is. Okay. The first is that Hillary said there was no classified information on her server. Then she said, well, I actually didn't send or receive any information that was marked classified at the time. Then there's this email where she instructs the person sending the email, who's having trouble getting her some classified information, instructs this person to remove the header of the email so it was no longer appeared as classified, and send it insecure. Right? So she's basically saying, go ahead and send me classified information and put it on an insecure server. And we know this server had above top secret, special access program, above top secret emails, 22 of them, and some of them were to the president on her server. So Hillary's explanations on what's going on have evolved. Does it make her a criminal? Not at all. But it does make you wonder, why have the explanations evolved over time as more data has come out? Well, let's move on. So she said the government investigation was only a security review. There's nothing to worry about it. It was routine, just a security review, not to worry. Later on, the FBI said, we don't know what a security review is. And in somewhat of a snarky tone, they said, we investigate, it's in our name. Now, the Clinton campaign then said the FBI has not contacted Hillary regarding this investigation. But when pushed, she didn't say whether or not the FBI had contacted any of her aides. They just kind of repeated one of the lines, saying, no, we didn't do anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. So she wouldn't answer that question. And then the White House, the same day they gave Hillary an endorsement, said it's a criminal investigation. Now, obviously, we don't know who the target is, but we'll get more on that later. So Hillary's explanation, kind of like before, inaccurate or incomplete. It does make you wonder. Okay, so let's move on. 30,000 emails were deleted from the server because they were personal. Okay, fine. It seems like a lot of personal emails, but sure, she's a popular person. But many of the emails were recovered that were intentionally deleted off the server from the IT group that was providing backup solutions. This same IT group was instructed to delete these backups, but they happened to have some cloud backups, which had everything. So now we believe, though we don't know, that the FBI has all of the emails. But we certainly know that they have some of the emails that were on this backup that they weren't supposed to have, that were supposed to be deleted, according to Hillary. So many of these emails were not personal, and it seems like they were intentionally removed because they didn't want people to see them. Now, the IT guy in charge, Brian Pagliano, the guy who set up the server, Clinton friend, took the fifth when he was being questioned by Judicial Watch. Now, I would probably take the fifth against Judicial Watch as well because they are a conservative group, and don't trust conservatives a whole lot. So if they were going to ask me a bunch of questions, if I don't need to answer them, I wouldn't. Okay, not a big deal. But this same IT guy was granted immunity by the FBI. And the FBI doesn't grant immunity unless they're going to get something in return. Like if you take the fifth, you're only doing that so you don't incriminate yourself. So you did something wrong if you take the fifth. Or at least you suspect you might have done something wrong and you don't want to get prosecuted. And the only reason why the FBI would give you the immunity is if they thought that you were going to testify, or in this case probably know that you're going to testify against something bigger. by the way, it kind of only goes up. Like if you wouldn't grant the kingpin of a drug deal immunity just to nail some of the lower level lieutenants. No, you always go for the top dog. The only top dog above this IT guy in the government would be his direct boss who hired him, Hillary, or Obama. So the FBI must have something to warrant investigating this and to warrant giving this guy immunity. Clinton's stated reason was that she wanted to keep things simple and have one device, not to check multiple devices. And I get that. Sometimes you don't want to have a bunch of different emails and check it. I totally understand that. Doesn't seem like it's appropriate here for government's top secret stuff, but whatever. It's like you could at least understand that. But then in one email, she's talking about designing an email system, designing a system to meet their needs. So she must have had some needs that she wanted. And her stated reason was that she didn't want anybody to have access. She didn't even want to risk it, have access to her personal emails. Her personal emails, which we don't know which one, it seems like 30,000. It's a lot of personal emails to be about yoga and wedding stuff. And we don't know what criteria personal emails were for, like only emails to Clinton or, to Chelsea or her husband or the wedding planner to yoga instructor. Be like, hey, I deleted all the emails with those people involved. That's fair. She didn't say what the criteria was. She just deleted 30,000 emails and then handed over the server. So you're designing this new system. You paid some guy to set up a new email system. You have haven't gotten to the spam filters yet that the State Department has removed. So this seems far from convenient. But here's the funny thing, because you could say, well, at least it was convenient for Hillary. Inconvenient for everybody else, but whatever. It's convenient for Hillary. Not the case. Because later on, Hillary said, when she asked what she travels with, she says, well, I always have my BlackBerry and my iPhone and my iPad mini. And then she chuckled about, having too much stuff. Well, that doesn't sound like the type of simplicity one would want from having one device. That sounds like 3 devices, and it sounds like not simplicity to me. So that kind of blows out her original reason. Now, you may say this is, being a little ticky-tacky, but if you're going to break State Department rules for convenience, yet that convenience is completely nullified by the fact that you have multiple devices already, devices which can be used in the government to handle stuff securely, I don't know. That seems kind of a little suspicious to me. Well, let's move on. So the server had 22 top secret emails. Security features on the State Department, not Hillary's personal server, but the State Department, the spam filter, were removed because the spam filters was marking Clinton's email as spam, and Clinton couldn't do her business. So she had, instead of using State Department emails as her aide, Huma Abedin, suggested, this was testified under oath, she said, yes, I suggested that she use State Department emails, and Hillary said no. You would think that would be the solution. Like, hey, until we get the spam issue resolved, I'll switch to state email. Didn't do it. Further, we know that, because these emails were released, we know that aides were concerned about, the IT people were concerned about the server getting hacked. They even shut down the server because they thought hackers were intentionally going after them. So it's not like they knew everything was secure. They knew they were being hacked, or at least they suspected they were being hacked. So they had this sensitive data. 22 above top secret emails, special access program to Obama. Well, not all of them to Obama, but 22 were special access program, some of them to Obama. So they had this sensitive data. They knew they were being hacked. They forced the State Department to remove their spam/security filters. All for Hillary's convenience, which she wasn't doing because she had multiple devices. That sounds suspicious to me. Let's move on. We have the Clinton Foundation. Not really been well investigated, right? I always just assumed that it was a charity, like the Bill Gates Foundation, right? Rich people doing good stuff with their money. I love it, right? That's great. But the State Department, not the FBI, but the State Department issued a subpoena to the Clinton Foundation. Why would the State Department do that? They must have a reason to. You wouldn't just say, you know what, now we're gonna investigate the Clinton Foundation. They had a reason to. But then the State Department was told to step aside in their investigation, or at least yield to the FBI. The FBI would not tell the State Department to yield their internal investigation unless the FBI had something that they deemed more serious than what the internal investigation was looking into. More serious than whatever it is that the Clinton Foundation is up to. We don't know, but they were subpoenaed. There are instances, thanks to a lot of released data, some by WikiLeaks, some by the Panama Papers, some by articles, news, whatnot. But we know that the Clinton Foundation received large sums of money from various groups, and that miraculously, anywhere from 3 months to a year, those large groups got weapons deals for those countries. And we're not talking about France and Germany. We're talking about places like Saudi Arabia, places that we really should not be selling weapons to. And then, yesterday, Bill Clinton holds his plane and meets with the Attorney General, the person who is going to be responsible for deciding whether or not to follow through with the FBI's recommendations, which they have not given yet. But the Attorney General is the person that's going to investigate and prosecute Clinton. And they met privately on Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General. They met privately on her plane yesterday. And Bill Clinton held his plane just for this meeting. They claim to talk about grandkids. Now, I have no doubt that co-workers would do something like this. If I happen to be in the same city and I happen to have a private jet, and a co-worker of mine who I hadn't seen or talked to in a while was going to be in town, I'd probably hold my private jet and go talk to them too. So that may or may not be a big deal. But given how close we are to what when we would expect the FBI to indict, that seems a little fishy. So they chatted about grandkids for 30 minutes. Okay. Maybe. But with everything else, it seems a little suspicious. So here's some of my thoughts on this. It was obviously not for convenience. That could be more obvious. She had multiple devices. It's not for convenience. So she's either incompetent, where she doesn't know when to follow other people's advice, or she's covering something up. Now, as much as I admit that I do not like Hillary Clinton, she is not incompetent, and she is not stupid, right? Donald Trump is stupid. Ted Cruz is not stupid. Both of them scare me, but I can still tell the difference between stupid and not stupid. Hillary Clinton is not stupid by any stretch of the means. There are signs that point to Clinton Foundation donations in exchange for weapons deals. That's bad. If that was intentional, and that's what she's covering up, that is really bad. So you intentionally avoid State Department emails to conduct shady business in exchange for money. Then if you're doing that, you have no business running for office and no business being in office. And if true, Hillary Clinton is guilty of obstruction of justice, racketeering, espionage. You know, this I'm not making this up. Like, go look up the definitions of those and look at the facts. She's guilty of those things. Now, maybe there's more to the story that we don't know. I'm sure there's more to the story. And maybe she had a good reason to do this stuff. Maybe she was saving the world from an alien invasion. I don't know, right? We don't have that information. But what we know now, it sure looks like she's guilty of those things. And no one should be running for office if the FBI is conducting a criminal investigation of you and your charitable foundation and your dealings with other countries. So those are the facts and some of my opinions. We'll see where this goes.